Hi guys, I just wanted to share with you today my latest design team project for Jenofeve Designs. I'm using the mini everlasting printable mini album templates today, and I have chosen to use the music notes. So I've made an album, 4-page album, and the cover, that's the cover. I have the music notes on the front. I did just want to show you though, I've printed it off actually it's kind of a muted paper as well, and textured or card. I printed it off in black and white fast draft so that it comes out paler, and that's because that's what I wanted. But if you were to just print as it was on the computer, that's what you would get it printed out like. So to start, I've got a frame on the front. It was a wooden frame and I've painted that black. I've done some torn paper and sewed it onto the cover piece, and for that I've used the music note design, obviously. And then the bow is from the templates. The only thing out of all the album really that I have used embellishments wise that I haven't made myself is the frame and the little black gems. The spine, I have used the template and drawn the 4-page template, drawn around it, and then I've sewn my torn pieces on like that, and then the back is the same, the torn pieces sewn on. I have a seam binding closure, and the front page I have used again the same thing, the cover, the music notes on that. Then I have a pocket here, and I've glued some torn pieces of vintage paper, vintage music sheets. Now I have a load of 1920s music sheets. A lot are not in that good repair, so you can't use them effectively as a music sheet. So I've used those pieces in here. So music sheet underneath, and then some torn paper or card. It's I think 160 gram. I've used the same colours all the way through, and I haven't used any printed papers for this. The only printing is the actual design of the templates, and I wanted to show really that you can do that, it just still looks really cool. So I've got a little rolled up piece of music here tied with some thread on the front, and these two little pieces here are from the templates. And then this is our insert. Here is the muted backgrounds from Jenofeve Designs, which is this. I'll leave the link below for everything and for all the pages I've used. I've tied that's just an insert, and I've tied it with the baker's twine. So on the back again is the music notes. In here I have another pocket and a little booklet. This is from her Build Embellishments, and I'm pretty sure it's the number 3, but I'll leave the link below. That's how it prints if you're in the fast draft, black and white, and that is the colour as it comes. So I've just used the inside. You get decorative pages in the embellishments as well, but I just wanted to use the blank sheets, which are really handy to do either inside of notebooks or just use and then decorate the front yourself. And then I've got a little part of music sheet here. I cut this music sheet down and then ran it through the printer, and so it printed off the correct size. Then here I've got a little mini notebook, little mini music book. What I did with that, the same as the front, I scanned in a piece of the music sheet, then reduced it down, or I printed 16 or something like that per page, so it gave me the size that I needed. Here is the insert for this one. This is the muted backgrounds, and a tag, that's just a piece of scrap card that I have. And here I've done the faux stitching instead of the actual sewing, and then muted background, the muted music notes, sorry, on the back. Here we've got another couple of notebooks. What I've done here, that's just a journaling spot. I've used the pieces that come on the sheets when you print the sheet off and you've got more than one thing on the sheet. So I've used the bits that I'm not using in this journal. I've used some of those, this album, some of those to do the little notebooks with. This one's the build embellishments. Again, this is one of the pieces of the build embellishments, and I printed that onto vellum and then sewn it on, and then part of a music sheet inside. Here is another little notebook I've made from them and tied with baker's twine. So the back is glued down, and then I've just made it in a little plain notebook for journaling, and that is just a piece of torn paper. I think that was Distress Oxides, and I had it sitting on my desk. So here is an envelope from the Printables, and I have sewn. So I think I just drew around the templates for that one, and then I've sewn the pieces onto the matting piece, and then I've glued it on, so it doesn't go obviously all the way through. And I have matted the inside again. I think that's muted backgrounds from Jenofeve's as well. They're really cool, actually, really handy to have those because they go with so much. So then this is another one of the build embellishments, and I've just torn the top off this for a little journaling card, a bow here, and the muted backgrounds. Here I've done another pocket, and I've sewn again the pieces on it, and that's a piece of card left over from when I'm printing the music notes, and I've used that from the muted backgrounds. This is a little tuck spot, and I again sewn and then glued that on, and then again the music notes on the back. Then here we've got another one of the inserts. So again, I've tied with baker's twine, left it quite simple. I think then they can add photos, or whoever ends up with this, whoever I give it to, will be able to add photos or do journaling themselves, or their own embellishments. Some little tags there. The same thing here, and that's just a piece of card that I've actually sewn on. Now these pages are the main base page, option B, and then I've used the pocket to have the short page here, but again I will leave all the page numbers in the link below. Then another little booklet and another little envelope, and I decided to leave this one plain just with the music notes on it, because then you know you've got a choice really of what you put on it. So and you could add more of this to it if you wanted to. These are, again, I've just made a little tag, a little booklet. The pieces that when you're printing off, that if you get some left over, and a little tuck spot. That piece there is from the build embellishments. I've got a little notebook in the back, again using the extras I've had left. The same on the back, the music notes, and a pocket. And this is ideal really for putting photos in and all sorts of things. Keepsakes. And then I've got sewn this one, so I've got the torn music sheet, and then some little pieces from the banners and that you get in the set. So that's the album. On the back, I don't know if I showed you, but that's strips of paper again. That's the album. And then I just wanted to show you some of how you can make your own embellishments, and they are very easy, and there are videos on YouTube, but I wanted to, for this one, I wanted to have only just stay with the colours that are in the album. So any of these, this is faux stitching. Let me go through this. So that's faux stitching, so that's trimmed, that one's not been trimmed. That's another faux stitching. That's another faux stitching. Then, and that's faux stitching, and I've done that on both sides. So that's with the torn paper. I've done it then, or if you're sewing, you don't have to sew onto a piece of card. Obviously, if you're doing the faux technique, you need to have something to glue it onto, really, or it's easier. These have just sewn. You add material. There's videos on YouTube where there's fabric. You can make fabric rolls with all your scraps and paper rolls. And this one I've just kept going really, and just kept adding, and you could add ribbon in it, you put anything you like in it. But I thought, if they're both just torn pieces, if not everybody likes to have the torn pieces, so you could still have it random, but I just got my trimmer out and just started chopping up all the little pieces that I had left from cutting these templates down. So you could make it more set in a way, but also if you wanted, you could do the sewing all around the outside and then use it as a journaling card on the back. So, or a bookmark, could be all sorts of things. So all I did was I inked the card up first. You could ink it up afterwards, I suppose, but so I've inked the, inked the card up, and then if we're doing faux stitching, then I just glue, and if I'm sewing, I don't glue it, but obviously if you're doing faux stitching, it's going to be a lot easier. So then I'm not bothering to glue it properly down, because I don't want it really, I don't want every piece stuck down completely. So I'll just glue a few, put that up the wrong way, and like that, and then piece of pink, and I'm actually not even thinking this through. I am just picking up what comes, oops, and gluing it on. As I say, you could be as random as you like, and you could keep going and keep going. So I'm not that bothered, as I say, that it's not that stuck down. And then I'm just doing a zigzag, but you could use different color pens. You could use a white pen, you could do a straight stitch, you could do a more fancy stitch, or you could sew by hand if you wanted to, and you could make any shape or size. You can make up your own paper pieces. So I'm just gone a bit crooked there. So that's with the faux stitching, but as I say, you can do it, and you could trim that down or just leave it like that. Then the other thing in there that I did was the little booklet. Well, really, that's really simple. So all I did, they're a lot easier if you sew them. There's some here. So this one is sewn, and I've cut the paper to 2.5 by 1.5, and then I've just sewn down the center of that one. And I did add another piece on the inside of that one. That one's just tied with baker's twine, but you could use a thread, or that way around, thread, or whatever you want to use. This one I've just glued down, put a thin bead of glue down the center, so if you didn't want to sew it, you could do that. The same with that one. It's just really, again, using up your little scraps. You could make it a lot more, or a bigger little notebook, or a lot more complicated. Not complicated, that's not the word, but a lot more fancy than that. But because I'm adding them to that album, I just wanted them to be like this. But I hope anyway that you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I would really appreciate it if you could give me a thumbs up and subscribe.